You're not going to go to the gym or start exercising or start that business that you've been wanting to do because you're not sure where to start and you're nervous about doing it wrong. Okay, like I get that, but yeah, join the club. It's a big club. It includes the entire human race. I was watching this documentary on Benjamin Franklin, and Benjamin Franklin, he was all kinds of things. He started out as a writer and working at a printing press, and then he was basically an indentured servant to his brother. But then he just kind of got tired of that. Well, he was writing anonymous letters under the pseudonym or under the alias of Silence Dogood. And they were big hits. These essays were very popular. They were being printed in his brother's paper. Then his brother found out that Benjamin Franklin was Silence Dogood. He wasn't too happy about that, which I always thought was a shame. It was probably a bummer to Ben that his older brother hated him for it. Some of it was probably jealousy. So Benjamin just says, all right, and then leaves. Breaks his contract with his brother, leaves, gets on a boat, lies to the captain and says that he got a girl pregnant and that's why he has to hurry and get out of there, which the captain was obliging. That's even funnier. And he sails to Philadelphia and starts a new life there. And as I'm watching this, I thought to myself, when was the last time I even thought about picking up everything that I own and just leaving and just going somewhere else? I can't even begin to imagine the mindset, how much risk that is. Like what was his plan? What was Benjamin Franklin's plan when he just picked up and left? I imagine he didn't take very much stuff with him, just what he could carry on his back. And this isn't the only time that I think about that. Anytime I see anything on American history, whether it's Columbus sailing across the ocean, not even knowing where he was going exactly or where, if they were going to hit land. Columbus was pretty sure they were going to hit land, but he didn't know for sure. Nobody knew for sure. Or the Pilgrims, kind of doing the same thing. They knew there was land there. They at least knew there was land, but there was no civilization. The Pilgrims landed, they started a colony, and it was rough. It was rough going. Not only were there no guarantees, but statistically, there was a good chance you were going to die. There was a good chance that you were not going to live to see any kind of prosperity from this huge journey that you just took. Then you've got the Americans, you've got the colonists, who suddenly decide that we're going to start a war with the greatest superpower on the planet at the time, Great Britain, because we don't feel like being British subjects anymore. No guarantees there. Oh my gosh. No guarantees that you were going to win, and if you lost, especially if you were part of the leadership, if you're George Washington or John Adams or John Hancock, who famously signed his name extra big to make sure no one missed it. If you were one of those guys, then you got special treatment from the British. If you lost, we're talking drawn and quartered, hanged, having their entrails cut out and burned. I don't know if that was a real thing. That's just what Nicolas Cage says in National Treasure. All these, no guarantees. And then it doesn't stop there. After they win the war that there was very unlikely they were even going to win at all, but they win the war, they found a new nation. Now it's time to start expanding west. And all the people who expanded west, every one of them, pioneers, every one of them, they didn't know where they were going. They weren't sure what they were going to find or if they were going to live. It usually comes down to that. You don't even know if you're going to survive this. And at that point, there was, some civilizations. They're all starting in some kind of an established civilization, a town, a city, a state, whatever. And they're going out into the unknown. Not sure what they're going to find. You've got the Mormon pioneers traveling all the way to Utah. There wasn't anything in Utah aside from the occasional Indian tribes here and there. Aside from that, there was nothing. The Mormon pioneers, led by Brigham Young, wandered into the Salt Lake Valley. He says to them, "This is the place. It's going to be rough. It's going to be sucky, but it's a fine place to make saints." And he was right. Skip ahead 100 years. A little over 100 years. Now we're trying to get into space. Now you've got guys they are strapping themselves into controlled explosions. That's all these are. These are like bombs, but instead of just exploding outward, they explode. They're able to funnel the energy downward and propel you up. And we've figured out that this is how we're going to get people into space. And I can't begin to imagine how terrifying that must have been for the guys actually doing it. The guys who are getting strapped into these rockets. It would still be scary now. Even now, after many, many, many successful launches, and we have a pretty good idea of what we're doing at this point, it would still be terrifying. Because it's a very low number of people that have actually done it. So imagine being some of the first. It's very likely you're going to die. All of this is to say, we Americans, we in America, we have a proud lineage, a proud heritage of exploration, of grit, of daring. But we're losing it because we're established and everybody's just trying to get by day to day. Keep your head down. Don't cause any problems. And it's made us cowardly. I say the number of people who they don't want to go to the gym because they're afraid that they're gonna mess up, or they're not gonna do it well, or they're gonna look stupid. And look, I'm not gonna do the whole you're waiting until you need to be perfect. No, I understand you're not waiting till you're perfect. No one's expecting to be perfect. That's a straw man. That's what people who aren't even trying to understand what you're thinking say when they say, well, you're not going to be perfect. Yeah, that goes without saying, and no one thinks that. No, what you're probably afraid of is walking in and literally having no clue what to do. You don't even want to be there in the first place. Going to the gym and lifting weights and running on the treadmill, like none of that sounds all that appealing to you. I don't understand why. I like going to the gym. But there are places that I don't like going, but I still go. But I still go to. Yeah, you don't really want to be there in the first place. And once you walk in and there's just so much stuff. There's so much to do. Where do you start? By the way, if you're watching my content, you'll know where to start. You'll know what to do. Check out some of my earlier videos where I think I give pretty good breakdowns of how exactly to go about exercising and weight training. But for now, there needs to be some kind of a mental shift, an attitude shift. And this is going to really help you, not just in your fitness and in getting to the gym, but in your life. Here's the attitude shift. You got to think of yourself like an explorer. You're an explorer. You're trying new things. You're experimenting. You're tinkering. History is made by tinkerers. Not tinkerers. That's different. Tinkerers. People who see problems and they tinker with it. They try this and then they try that and that doesn't work. They try this. No. Yeah. Remember Thomas Edison? It took him, he failed like a bajillion times to make the light bulb, and someone said to him, oh, Thomas, you failed. And he said, no, I've just learned a bajillion different ways not to make a light bulb. I just need to find the one way that works. Turns out it was cardboard. That's the filament that they needed. When you go to the gym, and this applies to almost every other aspect of your life, you need to have that sense of, I'm not trying to find the right way. I'm just trying to figure out a way to do it. Figure out what works. Figure out what exercises do you enjoy. What exercises seem to get you results. And the same with nutrition. Nutrition is such a freaking bee's nest because everybody has their own opinions on nutrition. And the best that I can tell people, I mean, there's some general guidelines that I can give people. Grams of protein, carbs. Do you need carbs? What kinds of carbs? Fats, polyunsaturated versus monounsaturated, whatever. There's so much about nutrition, and I understand basic guidelines, but then you get down to the more extremes where people say, go vegan, go plant-based. I typed into ChatGPT, I need some, I would like a list of must-see nutritional documentaries, because I'm always down to learn something new. Every single thing it listed was some kind of plant-based documentary. ChatGPT is a little biased. There's a lot of pro-carnivore or pro-meat eater documentaries out there too. All of that is just to say that there are many, many opinions and methods, and everybody's got their own thing. How do you sort through it all? Well, you can't. The short answer is you can't. I can't even, and I do this for a living. What you can do is experiment. You can try the paleo. You can try vegan. You can try high volume weightlifting, or you can try powerlifting. You can explore all of these different options until you find the ones that seem to work for you. But you have to have that experimenter's mindset or a scientific mindset where you're just putting it out there and seeing what happens. Not worrying about if you get it wrong. You're not going to die. That's the one thing. You don't have to worry about dying. You're not sailing across the Atlantic or making your way across the Great Plains, with the Sioux Indians trying to scalp you and whatnot. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, yeah, you might look a little silly on the bench press because you're not, okay, whatever. Fact is, no one really cares. Actually, fun fact, most people at the gym are really nice and they want to help you, especially if they see that you're struggling. People are actually very, very friendly because we all get it. Everyone at the gym's just trying to improve themselves, and we all have our own insecurities that we're dealing with. That's a different discussion for another day, though. Here's the point. Be an explorer. Be a pioneer. If you're the first one in your family to really make this a priority, you're not just an explorer, you're a pioneer. You're a pioneer within your own family. It's easy to be born into a certain kind of family and just do what everybody else is doing. Just take over your dad's business that he built, or do some kind of related thing, so maybe your dad's a general contractor. Maybe you don't become a general contractor, but you do something in construction because that's just the world you grew up in. Or you take a total left turn and you go to college, or you go start your own business in a totally different field, selling perfumes or whatever. Just something that's totally different from anything that anyone you even know has ever done. You're now a pioneer. You are now a pioneer. And take pride in that. Take pride in being the first. Not the first ever. It's very difficult to be. You will never be the first to do a certain thing. There's billions of people on the planet. And yeah, everything has been done by someone. That's why, side note, it bothers me when people on social media or on the internet say things like, "Oh, nobody ever talks about." No, everybody's talking about everything all the time. Don't you worry. Whatever your issue is, someone is talking about it. But within your social circle, if you're the first one to do it, you're a pioneer. Within your sphere, you are a pioneer. Take pride and get after it. Quit being a wuss. Go to the gym. Don't worry about doing it badly. Just do it. You'll be fine. And you're going to make yourself proud. Go forth, my fitnocrats.